Sit, turn type, sit. Good boy. Ruff.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. Wow. Look who we have here, ladies and gentlemen. If isn't it a sight for sore eyes, Mr. Boss himself, Brian Excel, finally presents himself after years in the making to make a return to Turnbuckle Tabloid. Strong J, sir. Strong.
This is my home, man. This is my home. Word.
It's been a long time, bro. You guys are doing big things over there, boy. What's going on over there with that?
Trying, bro. Hold on, let me show I'm good here. So we trying, man. You know, like.
I mean, the grind has been real lately, bro. I mean, you got 2 shows coming up in May. How y'all pull that off?
We actually got 3 shows.
3 shows in May?
Yeah, we got the Cinco de Mayo. Then the 24th and the 25th, we doing New York, and then we're going to Boston.
That's right, Boston as well. Nice. Oh, looks like what's the term these kids use these days? The Riz is real these days, and you're on the come up. The Riz is real.
Riz. Yeah, I don't know what these kids are talking about these days, man. I don't know. I'm old.
Oh man, damn man, it's been a minute, bro. Yo, every time I run into you at HOG, you just running around, you on pace, you got the camera out, you doing everything over there.
Yeah, man, just staying busy, bro.
Yeah, you in the mix.
Just staying busy, man. I feel blessed.
How's everything going? First of all, how's the family doing? How's everything with the peeps, with the kids and everything?
Everybody's good, man. You know, we blessed, man. Keeping God first, you know what I'm saying? And everybody's good, man. Thank God, man. I appreciate you. How's your daughter? How's your moms and all that?
Yeah, listen, mom is still mom, you know what I'm saying? Sit there watching, listening to TV. What you on the phone with
Novela? Novela and all that. Yeah, I know
her Law and Orders. And my daughter, sooner or later, she's probably gonna come your way and probably look for a gig to record some film.
Yeah, man. She's been with us since she was a kid.
Yeah. She's gonna be 17, man, and she's getting into the filmmaking industry, bro. So might come to you to see if you want to do a documentary on House of Glory. You know what I mean?
That's what's up, man. We might hire her for sure.
But seriously, let's get to business. I mean, like it's what HOG's been around since what 2010, 2020.
The school been around since 2010 December, and we started running shows 2011.
Yeah. I was there. I always love to tell people I was at the first event in the handball court in Bushwick. Yeah, and an audience which was basically packed with BXL's family.
My cousins, my aunts. That's a fact, man. I wanted to make sure that we had some people in there, and I didn't know who was going to show up. So, like, I had like a lot of my cousins and my aunts and my brothers and my, who was deep in there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and the card that you had, I remember you had an Eddie Kingston on that card.
Yeah,
you guys were on that card.
We had Ricky Reyes. Who Red went against? What was the main? I don't remember.
I forgot the main for Red. Damn, I forgot. But I know
was it Moff?
Matt. Oh yeah, Moff that day. Yeah, SAT was there as well. You had SAT in the building. You guys were for your first match. I was stacked, and then
I was trying to get my feet wet, man.
Did you think early on that it wasn't gonna happen? Like, did you feel as though the audience and audience is going to be a slow grind?
Nah, honestly, man, like I felt like it for me. I was more focused in the school, like you know what I'm saying, and me and Red was just focusing on the school. And then when it presented itself, you remember Frank? What's his
Right. Yeah, Lorenz Dean.
Lawrence Dean. Shout out to Lawrence Dean, man.
Lorenz.
He wanted to do a show like for his thing that he was doing. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? He wanted me to help him. So then when I started helping him, then I started seeing I'm like, shit, I think I could do this. Like, you know what I'm saying? For my guys, you know what I'm saying? So for me, I think, you know, and Red was not really a big fan of us running events. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? He was like, yo, I think we should just stick to the school. And then I just felt in my heart that we should do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then I ran with it and I just kept it going. You know what I mean? And we here now, man, through the grace of God. You know what I mean? But it's been definitely was a long grind, man, for sure.
No, definitely. Listen, I tell people day one, bro. It was slowly but surely progressing. It got a buzz in the hood, especially at that time. Indie wrestling was not in New York as heavy as it is now, and early on, I know the guys were you know watching the doors. You were able to link up with certain people. You guys, one of the big shows that you did early in the days, I remember, was HOG versus Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
That was a big night.
Yeah, it was. I think that set it off a lot of things, that event right there.
Yeah, especially that y'all ran it. I remember y'all ran it against SummerSlam. You tried to run it early, but things happened. There was an overlap, but still the audience was there. They were in the building.
Yeah,
They
at
stayed.
that time that was like the package show we ever did.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
a
it was
big
like a
thing.
lot of people there, like you know what I'm saying. And you know, for me, I was like, well, if we could be able to bring these Ring of Honor guys over here and make it seem like it's a House of Glory. Look, what you just said, like it was really obviously they didn't even know that I was doing that. Like you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying. If people thought it was like a House of Glory versus Ring of Honor, when it really wasn't. I try to put the names together, like you know, I forgot the name of what was it? The Glory, Honor with Glory or something like that.
Yeah.
And I booked some of the guys, you know what I mean, and I put it together. And I remember Prince Nana hitting me up one day, like, "Yo, you know, you gotta be careful." You know, when we start announcing the show, he's like, "You don't want Ring of Honor to think that this is what you're trying to do." Like, you know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, that's what I was trying to do. And
Yeah.
I think from there it basically like you know took off a little bit.
And you got guys who are now mainstream. They're you know their eyes is millions and millions are focused on them. You had Kevin
Yeah,
Steen on that show. You had Adam Cole on that show. You had
yeah,
and the big thing about it was that what you've been doing since the beginning to what you've been doing in 2024 is that you're giving your students the opportunity to go up against big names. You
yeah.
know, your early days, you had Mark Quinn out there. And then nowadays,
Smiley,
you got Smiley out there. You
Gang
still got
Gone,
Gango. You
absolutely.
got all these guys who were able to get into the ring with top tier
No
pros.
names, absolutely.
And nowadays, you're continuing the trend. Is that something that you felt early on when you was in your wrestling career that was given opportunities for you?
Absolutely. I think that's my main goal. Like, you know what I'm saying? To be able to put my students against the best out there. Cause I you know, obviously I'm gonna be biased. I think that my students are the best wrestlers out there. You know what I'm saying? Like hands down. I feel like my guys can go against anybody. You know what I mean? Even the people that was with us from before that are not with us now in House of Glory. I think that those are the best wrestlers in the world. Like, you know what I'm saying? So my guys, that's why I to this day, like I'm so confident in Red's training that I know once these guys are ready, they're gonna be able to get in the ring with anybody. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's why for us, in my mind, is always us versus them. You know what I'm saying? So them is people outside of House of Glory. So whoever the names is that we bring in, they go against our guys. You know what I mean? And also it gives our guys to step in the ring with some names. You know what I mean? So when they do step out there, it's like I'm used to this. I've been working these guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's been like I said from the beginning when you know we had saw the ICW they had gone away for a little bit. The New York City indie scene was just it wasn't there. You know, you had to go somewhere else together.
Yeah.
But now during that transition, you guys were able to say, "Yo, we could bring it back." And I know guys have hiccups. You know, the commission could be crazy.
Yeah.
Licensing. The way that it's all just covered, and even the backstabbing. People don't get it. The wrestling,
Yeah.
they want to get into it.
So grimy. Yeah.
Yeah, yo, Supermax Hernandez posted it on his Facebook page. He says, wrestling is for everybody, but to be a wrestler is not. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I know you guys have your dealings that when you come business wise to do that. How was it to come up? How was it when you're making the New York staple? HOG House of Glory is on the come up, and then you start seeing everybody popping up little by little.
For me, if you've been following us, for those who haven't been following us, you know, from the beginning, you know, I never really did business for anybody. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's always been us. Like, you know what I mean? And I always keep a small circle. Like, my main goal, you know, in the beginning it wasn't, but after a while it was like taking over New York. How could we take over New York? You know what I'm saying? I always believe that people believe what they see. You know what I'm saying? So for a long time, like when we was running in the handball court, even in the basketball gym, and then we discovered the venue we at now, I told Red, I said, you know, at that moment, I'm like, I think that we third best in New York. I felt like, I don't know if you remember that company, Entertainment Wrestling, that they used to run in Manhattan. I feel like they were number one. One, because they were running in Manhattan. Two, they had the biggest stars. You know what I mean? Go there. And I felt like wrestling syndicate, Pro Wrestling Syndicate, they wrestle pro now. But before they were Wrestling Syndicate, I feel like they were second and we were third. And then I told Red, I said, once we run a show in that venue right there, it's going to automatically make us number one in people's eyes. I said, once people see this venue and they go on YouTube and they see this venue, they're going to be like, what is going on over there? Like, because people used to running in like bingo halls or gyms and stuff like that. We running in a spot that has lights and it's just perfect for wrestling. We have a stage and all that. So for me, is you know, from the beginning, we always just did our own thing. Like, I didn't really want to do business with anybody, but that's not me being selfish. It's just, for me, it's like I didn't want to get caught up with nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know that if I did it myself, or me and Red did it together, we could only blame ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was just like, and the difference is that we are wrestling school. We're not like just a company doing indies. Like, we are wrestling school first, and then it's like we had our guys, and we're like, well, we're ready to go. Like, you know what I mean? And that's exactly what happened. So I think us just dealing with ourselves and just staying together is what helped us out. And everything outside, we just didn't pay attention to.
Long gone are the days of the Urban Wrestling League. You know, you come back to life with that. They run that on Pluto TV. They have
I didn't know that.
They run it out there. Yeah, shout out to Pluto for giving you guys like renaissance or return.
Shout out to Steve. That was the guy that was helping running that over there, man. They had, for me, I feel like that could have blew up. You know what I'm saying? I think that if they had the right people running that, it would have blew up, man. It would, and I say it to this day, man. Like, for me, it's just like there's different things that you could do in wrestling that you could be able to stand out. You know what I mean? And obviously, for me, I'm still working on that. You know what I mean? I have different ideas and stuff like that. So, but that was one of the ideas right there. I feel like hip hop is huge. You know what I mean? To this day, you see people. You know, you see the GCW, the culture event they do every year. You know what I mean? That's all hip hop stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? And even with me with the Master P situation and me bringing rappers and stuff like that, and now Fourth Rope is coming. Like, you know what I mean? I'm gonna be a part of that with Westside Gunn. You know what I'm saying? So the ideas that I wanted to do with House of Glory, I'm gonna do it with Westside Gunn. You know what I mean? Because I feel like House of Glory is going a different direction. And Westside Gunn is like my brother. Like, you know what I mean? We talk all the time. You know what I mean? I done went to his crib. I done stayed in his crib. Like, I know his moms, his daughter. Like, you know what I mean? So I feel like that hip hop culture, man, I think it could be huge in wrestling if it's done correctly. And I think that the people in urban wrestling could have had a chance to do it, but they didn't have the right people around them that really knew hip hop. You know what I mean? Because for me, it was just like, you know, I was a part of that. But what happened was they had indie wrestlers and indie rappers. Nobody's coming to see the indie rappers. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like the only people that are coming is like indie fans. You know what I mean? And for me, it's just like, if they would have just invested in like one rapper or two rappers, like a Jadakiss, you know what I mean? Or like a LL Cool J, just one big rapper or two big names, and invest all that money on that, it should have been huge. But they got all these indie rappers that nobody even knew.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, even to this day, like the other day I was at an event and I ran up on Charlie Clips and DNA, and like they were like, yo, I'm with it. Let's talk. Cause you know, in the essence, you know, hip hop is wrestling and wrestling is hip hop. It was always a weird transition because they always connected rock and wrestling. That was the early days of you know, WWF and stuff like that. But hip hop has now been the
forefront
transition. Yeah, for music. You know, you see the battle raps. There's always referencing, you know, Taker, Stone Cold, and
Yes.
AEW
Because
and all that stuff.
look who it is. It's these kids that grew up watching wrestling.
Right.
You know what I mean? That was our generation. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like the generation before that, like these rappers was not talking about no wrestling. Remember at that time, back in the days when we were younger, like people used to not act like they seen wrestling. They were like too cool for that. They didn't want people to think like just because it was not cool to watch wrestling back then.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Especially in the rap culture, it was about jail and guns and stuff like that. Now these kids that grew up in our era, they watch wrestling and they don't got no hair in their tongue. They're like, yeah, like Undertaker, Hogan, like, you know what I mean? Because they know everybody, they love it and they passionate about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely different now.
So we talk about how you brought in the school first, and then the shows were running. You had the events that were happening, and even to this day, you still find time to give students their time to shine. You still run your student shows as well. You're giving them the opportunities and such like that to work on their craft. I even seen you pull a student to the side and tell them, "Yo, you got the tools, but you gotta work on the gimmick. You gotta do something. You're still hands on in it."
Absolutely. That's everything for me. You know what I'm saying? For me, it's like, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Like, for me, it's like, there's a lot. If you talk to my students, right, the people that train, ask them, besides obviously Private Party, because they in AEW now, but even Private Party, like, you know what I'm saying? Like Isaiah from Private Party, his favorite wrestler was Jeff Hardy. You know what I'm saying? So when Isaiah Cassidy came into House of Glory, he was like 14 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he used to have like the Star King, like he was a huge Jeff Hardy fan. You know what I'm saying? And I remember back then that I spoke to his father, right? And his father was telling me all this. He got posters of Jeff Hardy in his room and stuff like that. And I told his father back then, I said, if I get an opportunity, I'm gonna have him in the ring with Jeff Hardy. That's who he loves. And it's crazy. This was back then when we was like doing nothing, like real small shows. And look, I spoke it to existence. And then we surprised him and we gave them the Hardy Boys twice. You know what I'm saying? So to this day, he brings that up. You know what I mean? So for me, it's just like, if you speak to a lot of my students and you ask them who was their favorite match, 90% will probably say it was a House of Glory. You know what I mean? Because I try to, for me, that's why I do it for. You know what I mean? For them to wrestle the best wrestlers or their favorite wrestlers if I can. Like even Red, look at Red. Red wrestled Rey Mysterio Jr.
Yeah,
like
I remember that.
Yeah, when we were younger, that's what everybody compared Red to Rey Mysterio Jr. Like, it's crazy because I sold my car. I had a Range Rover. I sold my car to make that match happen. Like, you know what I'm saying? And people don't know that. Like, for me, it's like that's what I do it for my guys to be able to succeed. And even if they don't make it to WWE or AEW, they could feel like they made it if they're wrestling in House of Glory because they done wrestled everybody. You know
and
what
it's
I'm saying?
crazy because you guys didn't release that footage for years, man. That was a long time. Like it was one of those things that you had to be there to get that moment, to capture it. You guys held on to that video for a long time.
And honestly, that's my fault. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for me, it's like I hold on to so much footage. You know what I mean? And it's just like, because to be honest with you, I was always so focused on the next event. I didn't care about footage or, you know what I mean, none of that stuff, or YouTube or none of that stuff. I was always focused on the next event, making the show even bigger, bringing in the biggest names. That's all I cared about. Like, you know what I mean? When I should have been trying to care about also the footage, because that's super important for later on. Like, you know, especially for like YouTube and the library of House of Glory. Like, I started looking at stuff like that late when I should have been always thought about that. Like, you know what I mean? So now I'm balancing it out and doing things smarter this time around.
So now you're discussing your growth, where it was from day one to where it is now.
Yeah.
Has it become easier? Are we still, feeling that we're grinding? Are we still feeling as though that, you're never settled? That's one thing. You're never going to settle.
No,
but, is this where you thought about it 10, 12 years ago? Like, okay, now we get to see some profit. Now we see the running going.
Yeah, no, we definitely making profit now. We didn't make profit for most of the time. Like, it was just always.
You sold your car for this thing, like crazy.
Yeah, no, of course. I was in all the way. Like, you know what I'm saying? I always I was putting this before anything, with wrestling. Like, you know what I mean? And I thank God that I have the wife I had, that she was patient. She understood, you know what I'm saying? And everything was about House of Glory. Like, you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's just like, now we doing, and it's obviously it's easier now. Back then I'm a kid from Brooklyn, man. I grew up with having nothing. Like, literally, like, I didn't have nothing, a pot to piss in. And if people heard my story, they wouldn't even believe it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so for me, it's just like, I was just learning on my own, because I'm not going to call nobody for who I'm going to call. Right. There's nobody to call to be able to give me information to be a promoter. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I had to learn on my own. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I did learn on my own. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, and it's a good thing, man. I love it. Like, I'm a promoter. I got my promoter's license now. Like, I couldn't have it before because I had felonies. But I got my lawyer. I went to court. I did a whole process just to be able to have my promoter's license, because I know that this is what I want to do. What else I'm gonna do? Like, you want me to go back to the streets? No, I'm giving everything for this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sacrificing a lot. You know what I mean? So for me, it's just like, this is all I got right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so obviously, you know, I got my promoter's license, and things are easier now. Just because before I didn't know, I was just learning. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even with relationships and stuff like that, were in wrestling. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes people, you know, you say something the wrong way and people will take it another way. Like, you know what I mean? People are just so sensitive. You know what I mean? And for me, it's just like, it's a blessing, man. Like, I love the opportunity that God's given me, and you know, I'm excited for the future.
Yeah, like I said, it's a growth. And honestly, it went from a kid with the cornrow braids and going in the ring. Now, you know, we can see the measure that it takes for an individual to put the grind in to put in. I always tell people, I said, Ryan and I have a love-hate relationship. I said, we peoples, but we have a love-hate relationship, because at the same time, I'm probably one of the rarest and fewest people that like we say in Spanish, yo lo diga la verdad. I'll keep it a buck with you. And if there's something,
and for me, you know, and I agree with you. You do keep it a buck with me, and a lot of people, for me, it's just, I don't even give people the time of day. Not no disrespectful, it's respectfully, like, you know what I mean. So for me, it's like, this is why I'm on it. When you see me, like, now I'm doing like little podcasts here and there and stuff like that. But for a lot of years, I only did your stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? And the reason I did that is because you was day one for real. You was at that first show. And that for me, that's loyalty. Like, you know what I'm saying? You've been like, how I'm not gonna, like, you know what I'm saying? How I'm not gonna do your show. Whatever you need me to do, I'm gonna be there. Just because of the things that you have done for me, just supporting the brand. And to this day, you support the brand. Like, you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's just like, I'll do this all day with you. Like,
yeah,
you know
man, I bring masses. Like, the section that you usually see me in the building when I'm there, that's a turbo tabloid section. Now everybody want to be there. Nobody wanted to be there.
You're right about that. You're right about that. You made that. That's like when people come out, they gotta worry about that section right there, because y'all wilding out right there. That's a fact.
Yeah, but you know, it's to say that, you know, the climate of wrestling has not only just changed in the indie scene for New York City, but it's also changed in the masses. Like, we've seen 5 years ago when AEW debuted. We've seen the turnover that's happening now with WWE. We see, regardless of what you say about TNA, they still grinding. They still in the business. Like, they're not gonna go away.
I'm a fan of TNA. They doing their thing right now.
Definitely. So, how do you think that still translates to what's going on with your students, what they're looking to do, what's their next move on the scene?
Honestly, I think that they can only answer that. You know what I'm saying? For me, it's just like, I would just, you know, me and Red would just give you the tools that you need to get there. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's just, I can't promise you AEW, I can't promise you WWE or TNA. And if I can, all my guys will be signed already. Like I said before, these guys are the best wrestlers in the world, man. I really generally mean that. Like, you know what I'm saying? But then it's just like, you really learn in this business is who you know. You know what I'm saying? It's just, and every business, like, you know what I mean? It's really who you know. And obviously, if you got a buzz also, like, you know what I'm saying? If you got a buzz and you killing the indies, then it's undeniable. You're going to get that phone call. Like, you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's just keep grinding with my guys, man. If they don't get signed, shit, I'll keep them. You know what I mean? Because House of Glory is not just me and Red. That's impossible. Like, you know what I mean? This company, it's only moving forward and existing because obviously to the grace of God. But my guys, my students, the guys that step up, you know, every time we always have a group of guys that's stepping up. When the other guys go this way or that way or get signed or whatever, we have the next group of guys ready to take over. Like, you know what I mean? And that's what we got the wrestling school for. And we do student shows now. Like, the student shows we have some good students that's coming up. They gonna be the next guys up to take over the whole Hog brand. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, we just keep going, man.
Yeah, it's crazy because like I said, being there from day one, you saw the first generation of talent that went through, you know, that, you know, the potential, then, you know, the rollovers, and then you got, you know, up to what you got now. You know, Ken Broadway, he's you know, on that peripheral. You got Mason, who's touching on the peripheral as well. You guys made Main event, definitely. You got you have Private Party made it up there.
Monte Kia, like all these
Monte,
all my
definitely.
guys.
All these guys, man.
All my guys are ill, man.
It's beautiful. It's a blessing that you guys have been able to do that, keep it strong. How has been the recruitment? Well, not even the recruitment, because you guys are recruit. You guys sit there and they come to you. Now I got people who hit me up and like, yo, can you get me a conversation with Brian or whatever? Like, nah, just go to the school, fam. How's that been going?
What you mean, like to sign up for the school or to be on the show?
Yeah. Because I know you have your days, where you have the tryouts and stuff like that, or people come in. How's it been running for you guys?
It goes good, man. We get emails every day. Like we really do get emails every day of people asking a lot of questions and want to sign up. You know what I mean? So we just been blessed, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like God's really been blessing us, man. Like, you know what I mean? And this is what me and Red do full time. You know what I mean? We don't got no outside jobs, and it's been like that for a long time. You know what I'm saying? So it's been good, man. We have a lot of students, and students are signing up every day, man. So it's just a blessing.
Yeah. So you guys gave your last run. Well, I don't know if it's your last one, but last year the Bookers had a run.
Yeah, man.
How was that for you? Because you was out of the ring for a little bit. You was a little bit out there. How was it to get back in there to do that?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like, my best moments, and obviously, I used to wrestle back in the days. I just did a podcast with Eddie Kingston, and we was talking about the Ring of Honor days back in the days, and he was telling me how he remembers watching me being a Special K, and he said that he was there when I wrestled Eddie Guerrero. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's like, that was like my best moment in wrestling, right? So obviously you can't get bigger than that. You in the ring where I took his frog splash. Like, you know what I'm saying? But the second best moment in wrestling was teaming up with Red and being the Bookers. Like, you know what I'm saying? For me personally, like, just teaming up with Red and working together and going to GCW, stealing their titles and wrestling in GCW with Red. That was just a real fun experience, man. Like I remember us wrestling and being together, knowing like, I know that this is not gonna last forever, so I'm gonna enjoy every step of it. Like, you know what I mean? Because Red is one of my best friends. You know what I mean? And obviously, he's a legend in this sport, man. Like, you know what I mean? People really love Red, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of wrestlers I've seen wrestlers from all over like give it up to him. You know what I mean? And that's what's up. So for me to be able to tag with him and wrestle our students main event and include them in GCW, you know what I'm saying? It was just an amazing thing, man. And I would love to do it again for sure.
Yeah, let me tell you,
we got some good heat. We got some
I was about to say the heat magnets you guys were drawing, bro. Like, and for you to go into another promotion, which early on I know there was like some kind of going on there, and for that relationship, that partnership to happen, I was like, wow, that says a lot about the industry, what's happening this day and age, especially in the indie scene. It's rare that you can see that, man. It was good to see that you and Brett and you guys could come along for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Brett's a good dude, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people can say whatever they want. People always got something to say, but they really don't know the truth. You know what I'm saying? There's always three sides in the story. You know what I'm saying? And for me, it's just like, I'll do business with anybody that wants to do business with me, if it has to make sense for both sides. You know what I'm saying? Like, we did a show with TNA before. Like, you know what I mean? We did a show in Canada before. Now then we worked with GCW. Now we just did a show in Philadelphia. Well, Revolver.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Sammy's my dude. Like, I'm cool. Sammy's a good dude, man. Like, he gives me a lot of advice. You know what I mean? Like, because he's doing his thing with his company. You know what I mean? And obviously House of Glory been doing, was there before that, but still, like, the things that he tells me, he's like, House of Glory's here, bro. Like, you gotta go out there and travel and do your thing. And I felt like we should have done that a long time ago. Like, start doing Philly and Boston and wherever and start traveling. But I was just so content with like New York. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just being home and putting on the best shows for the New York area, like for our peoples. You know what I mean? But now it's gonna be a different time now. Now we're gonna go out there and test the waters.
Yeah, shout out to Sammy Callahan. Sammy Callahan was another one from day one. It was an HOG guy that came day one.
Day one.
Sammy and I have a cool history. I actually still have my sign, which he tore up at an HOG show years ago.
Yeah, he cursed my son. My son right now is 13. Well, he cursed my son out when he was like 3 years old, 4 years old, when I was wrestling in the ring. Remember? I said, I was in the ring. He said, "That's your son." So that's my son. He said, "I'm gonna kick this shit out of him." I was like, "Oh." That's my dude, man. Sammy, his mind for wrestling is just amazing. It's crazy.
Yeah, even at the TNA HOG event, he took my puppet and kicked it across the arena.
Yo, the dude is ill. Sammy's my dude, man.
Yeah, man. But what do you look at the landscape of mainstream wrestling this day and age? How it's, and remember, we just said it early on that back in the days you couldn't say that you was a wrestling fan because everybody would thought like you were weirdo and shit. And now, what do you think of how the landscape of wrestling is now?
I love it, man. It's great, bro. Like it's really is a lot of great things. AEW coming on the scene and stuff like it changed a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? At first it hurted like independent companies. You know what I'm saying? Just because all the guys that we were using end up leaving. Like you know what I'm saying? Like if you think about it, our whole tag division was gone in a split second.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The Lucha Bros were our tag team champions. Then we had Santana or Ortiz that were our champs too. And then we had Private Party. Like, you know what I mean? So those three teams right there were gone in a second. You know what I mean? So I think, I thank God Tony Khan lets his guys do indies. Like, you know what I'm saying? And because it still helps people. You know what I mean? So I think that's super important. I don't watch wrestling the way I should, and I'm gonna start watching it now, like WWE and AEW and TNA, and you know what I mean, just because I have a lot of plans on doing different things, and I need to be able to watch that to know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm excited, man. There's a lot of companies doing their thing, man, especially in the indies right now. Like, you know what I mean? You see the GCWs, the Revolvers, and you know what I mean, and Defy. There's just so many indie companies that's really killing it right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's good for wrestling. It's good for business. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's real good for business, man. Like, especially if this is what you do and this is how you get your bread and butter, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy because I always tell people when they ask me if I know about certain individuals or if I've ever seen them, I always say, yo, Swerve, first time I saw him was in HOG years ago.
It's crazy you say that because I just seen a picture on the HOG page, I think on Facebook, and it was from like 2012. He don't really look the same.
No.
You know what I'm saying? He don't even look the same. He's like a different person.
He was thinner. Man. He didn't even have the shape like that. He was nothing.
Short hair. Like he just looked like a completely different kid. And it's crazy because I had forgot about that. And then when it popped up on my feed, I'm like, oh shit, they had like in 2012, a long time ago.
Yeah,
even the Young Bucks.
You had the Bucks. Yeah, you had the Bucks. You had Ricochet go through there. EC3, the NWA champ. You had guys who went through the HOG, man, early on, man, and it's a testament to the commitment that you guys had, because as Jay would say, grand opening, grand closing. A lot that happens to a lot of indie promotions, man, but you guys have been consistent. But it's good that, it's good to say that, that you want to get back into watching a little bit of a wrestling show, because we've had conversations where I think we need to get you back a little bit more on Turbo Tabloid. So I think I have an idea for Ask the Promoter. I'm going to do a segment called Ask the Promoter. I would do a hot take with you to see how it would be. How would you book this or promote this?
Oh, okay. What, you want to do that every week, or are you doing that now?
No. We could do it like every week, every other week. We could set something up, because I know I see you now. You're promoting Wrestling is Life from a guy who really is not big on talking, and which I can say I have to say that I did help with getting you a little bit out of your shell to help you talk a little freely.
You did.
But now you're doing Wrestling is Life. Tell everybody what that's all about.
So, but let me give you your flowers at first. I remember years ago, when you invited me to do the podcast, and I was like, oh, I'm not a good talker. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know I'm just not. Like, for me, it's just like I like talking to people face to face. You know what I mean? I don't, even if you see me on social media on the IG, I don't have IG no more. But like when it comes to talking, I'm just not a good talker. You know what I'm saying? And I remember you used to like, yo, come to the podcast, man. I'm gonna help you. Like, we go practice. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that really helped me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm good now. Like, I feel like I could talk to anybody. Like, you know what I mean? If I don't understand the question, I'm going to ask it again so you can explain to me what you're trying to say. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, man. So, so for a long time, people was asking me why I don't do a podcast. Like, everybody has a podcast, and they're like, well, if you're dealing with all these wrestlers that you booking, why not do a podcast also with them? And then it's like, you know what? That's what I'm going to try to start doing. You know what I mean? So I got my partner, Sean Perez. He's one of my best friends. Excuse me. One of my best friends I grew up with in Brooklyn. and he always been a wrestling fan also. Like he always comes to the House of Glory shows, he helps out and stuff like that. So I'm gonna start doing a podcast with him and just do it for fun and see how far it goes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I want to get him on here too because shout out to Sean. He and I share the same interests. He's a Funko collector like me. I ran into him a couple of times at FYE when it was open. That's why I'm doing this thing there.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I saw your last conversation, and like I said, you're comfortable. You pretty much are getting into that zone. You're feeling. I'm like, I said, B wasn't like that for a while, man. I said, but it's good to see, man. Open that up for a little bit, get that, get those ropes, hit the ropes. You know what I'm saying? Take them bumps.
No, for sure. But for me, it was like just because I dropped out of school at an early age, like you know what I'm saying, like, and I was a kid in school that never paid attention. Like I literally in every grade since I can remember, since I was in kindergarten, like I just, I never paid attention in school. Like I was always really bad. I was a bully in school. I was, I'm older now and I regret the things I've done. But when I was in school, I was really bad. I was a terrible kid and I never paid attention. The only thing that made me pay attention was wrestling. I used to be one of those kids. I used to be running around, and once my mother put wrestling on, I used to sit down and watch the whole thing. You know what I mean? So for me, it's just like, I'm not the, so for me talking is sometimes I can't communicate what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? So I just get caught up. So for me, it's just like I don't need to talk. I just have to just stay behind the scenes and do what I do. Like, you know what I'm saying? But now I'm in the forefront. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, and I'm getting comfortable. So it's a good thing.
It's funny because anytime I see B, he's at HOG, and I don't have to hear him. All I know is I know exactly what he's doing or what he's saying because all I just see is hand movements. I'm going into people's faces. I said, there go B. He's in promoter mode today.
It's crazy. It's crazy because it's like I'm literally like a different person. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when I'm like, I get in this mode that is not even me. I don't know what comes over me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, like even my brother, he's a street dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? So for me, he don't come to my shows and none of that stuff like that. But sometimes he will show up. And then when he sees me, he's trying to talk to me. He sees how I'm, he's like, yo, what's wrong with this nigga? Like, like, what's wrong with you? And I just like, nigga, don't talk to me. Like, let me just do what I gotta do because I'm like
that's
so
Psycho.
focused,
that's
man.
Psycho.
No, that's Psycho, my other brother.
Oh,
Psycho don't bother me. Psycho's just like standing there looking around, making sure nothing pops off. Every time he sees like an altercation, he runs over there, he looks around. Like, no, he's more calm. Like, you know what I mean? He's just like, he likes to react. But my other brother was just like, yo, what's up? Like, but everything's good now, man. Like I love that feeling of being a promoter. Like I don't, I've been wrestling for a long time, on and off. But I feel like I'm more of a promoter. Like, you know what I'm saying? I love that title.
Shout out to my boy wrestling fan Frankie. He puts up and he says running around with his phone.
That's true though. All day, you don't understand, man. I was just all day trying to catch the best thing I could catch, and it's crazy because the last show we had, my phone for the first time, I was running out of storage. I grabbed another student's phone. I started recording his shit, got out of storage. I went to the back, got somebody else's phone, and I had like 3 phones on me. Crazy, man. I love it though, man. I love it.
Nah, man. Listen, it's like I said, it's a blessing. Like we said, man. It's humble beginnings to where it is now. To see thousands in the building at Missouri, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. It's a blessing, man. And shout out to all the people that helped build this. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that are not around no more that help us get us here, and they put a lot of work in. And you know what I mean? And I don't know how they feel about me, like, you know what I mean? But I always got love because for me, it's just like if you helped House of Glory, man, and I always got love for you, man, even if you don't got love for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm just happy to be here, and God changed my life, and me having this company is a blessing, man, because I don't know where I'll be, honestly, if I didn't have it.
Yeah, wrestling fan Frankie, he says it himself, and he's another one that's in the Turnbuckle Tabloid section in the building. And it's like, God bless, looking forward to Cinco de Mayo show. I'll be there with my nephew. So,
that's what's up.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm saying it's still growing and it's still there. You guys are still cranking it out. But I know you busy, and we're gonna sit there and we're gonna set something up because I said I got big things for us to do later on in life. And as always, B will always sit there and say this shit and then blow me off later on down the line. That's cool.
No, I like that segment you just said. I think that's a dope idea, especially now that I'm gonna start watching wrestling. I think for me it's like I like doing stuff like this. Like, you know what I mean? The other day when me and you was talking, I'm like, yo, I'm cool to do this, even if it's for a few minutes a week. So if we can have that segment, I'm 100% in. I'm good.
Definitely. But bro, do some promo.
Yo.